Hey y'all, N4H&H here. I want to show you something. Yeah, I try to keep it practical and real here on this channel. Zooming in there. In the middle of your screen, you're going to see, there it is, a Ladder-Loc. See the window line coming down? The sun's shining on it. Ladder line, window line. True ladder line, for you purists, of course, has a wider separation from that, but the difference in performance between true ladder line and that window line is not all that big of a deal. So it's a lot more convenient to work with the window line because of, well, things like that Ladder-Loc. See, that line locks in there. It's got little, it looks like it's 3D printed, but I believe these are actually molded. But it's got little slots in there for those windows to lay into, so it really locks it in nicely. Makes for a great center point when you're building a doublet or a ZS6 BKW type antenna. So I should have started filming before I did this. What I wanted to explain to you is there's a pulley right above it. I noticed that it was pulled to the right as you view from here from the pulley. Well, that tells me that the wire going to the right was being pulled harder than the one on the left. So I went and investigated. So I'm going to go back to well, let me explain. This wire, let me pan back out a little bit here. The wire on the right goes over to, yes, I threaded it through all those trees, and it goes over into that little ravine area there. Let me see if I can pan down a little bit and let you see. Okay. My neighbor John owns that, and he's kind enough to let me use one of the trees out there to secure one side of that doublet antenna. By the way, a doublet antenna is really a doublet antenna system. It's a very old, one of the earliest antenna designs, and they're still very effective today. So that's where one side goes. Now I'm going to, just bear with me here, I'm going to stop the camera and go to the other side where it connects. Because I want to show you how I investigated the issue with my Ladder-Loc not hanging like it should. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm in the backyard now. There's my Diamond X50 dual band for VHF, UHF antenna. It's a 4.5 dB gain. There's the ZS6 BKW feed point, and it uses window line as well, and that goes up to about a 48 feet or so to its center point. I'll zoom in on it for you if I can find it. That's the good thing about it though too, is it's kind of stealthy. But anyway, there it is, middle of the screen now. Also a Ladder-Loc. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out, and of course you might have remembered from the past couple of weeks I showed you short videos where the Joro Spider had built a web between that R5 vertical and one side of the ZS6 BKW. If you look to the left of the Cushcraft R5 there, you'll see one of the guy ropes. There we go, for the mast that's holding up the X50. Okay, we're gonna work our way across the backyard. Oh, I gotta, look at this. There he is again. I gotta miss this spider. And yes, I have a burn barrel. Does everyone have a burn barrel? I don't know. I grew up with one. That's where we take small limbs and get rid of them. Okay, so we're walking over here to this area. These plants were here when we bought this place. But I'm going to show you where the other side of the doublet is supported. You may see the rope there coming up. There it is. Okay, you see the rock? Yeah, rock right there with the rope tied on it. I don't have a pulley on this one. I'd like to, but I just did the slingshot method. Got a rope over. See if I can. I may have to back out here a little bit. I'm trying to show you where it crosses the limb. Bear with me there. But to trip up. See this? See the insulator in the middle there? Yeah, I know that's not perfect. The wire is actually going over the limb. Not the greatest scenario. I believe I'm going to make a judgment call here. The reason, so let me explain. The reason that the Ladder-Loc was nudged to the right is because there was a lot of slack in this. And I forgot. So here we are on film. I'm going to show you what happened. I forgot about that. The reason there was slack is because I had to give it slack because I didn't want to cross the limb with the actual wire. It'll fray the wire. So there's going to be a sag in it on this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to put the camera down. I'm going to loosen a couple of coils of the rope. Let me zoom out here, off of that rock to give it enough slack for the insulator. There to go across the tree. I'll just let it come up to the tree fork there so that the rope is scrubbing against the limb. Now let me just tell you, that rope, that Dacron rope, I've had this stuff up for close to 20 years. Even going over tree limbs like that, every now and then I come along and give it a tug so it doesn't grow into the tree, or so the tree doesn't grow around it. But that stuff's just virtually indestructible. It's incredible. If you're thinking of using anchor rope, no, I tried that. Anchor rope will give up. This Dacron is incredible. All right, bear with me a moment. Okay, y'all, I took a couple of coils of rope off the rock and retied. So let me see if you can see the insulator. Zoom in there, you can see the insulator is almost to the tree. So now what I'm gonna do, let me go show you what I saw first thing this morning. See, keeping it real, guys. Be back in a minute. Okay, before I go over there to show you what I saw earlier, I want to zoom in here. I'm still at the rope and the rock, going up over the limb. I want to show you another issue. See that limb sticking out right there? Well, the wire for the antenna, let me wiggle it. Let's see. You see it right there? See? If I pull it too tight, the wire touches that limb, and that's not ideal. So I'm having to give it enough slack. I'm remembering this all now. I'm having to give it enough slack to clear that, you know, to not run into that limb. Of course, okay, I could trim that limb off. True, I could. Now, you'll notice too another problem right above the power lines there. Let's see if I can get on it. There's that limb there. You see the wire? Now, right now, it's actually dropping down and hitting that limb. So when I tell you guys I have to thread my wire through the trees, see if I pull too much, I'm up on that one. I'm not kidding when I tell you that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other side of the antenna and see if I can correct this. And on the way over there, I'll show you what tipped me off this morning. Okay, back over here to the Ladder-Loc. Now you'll see the pulley is up and to the left. So the antenna center there, the Ladder-Loc, is being pulled to the right. And that's because I just gave it a lot of slack over there. Well, and you might be thinking, well, Doug, why don't you find another tree over in that direction where you just came from so you can pull it tighter and miss all those limbs. That's the edge of my lot. That's the last tree. So hard to do. There is one more tree, but the tree that I'm suspended from now is right in front of it. It's in the way, so it wouldn't help. So I'm going to compensate by going over to the other side and putting more tension on it, which means this center point is going to pull even more to the right, but it will tighten up the wire that I just showed you such that it maybe sits right nice in the middle between the limb below it and the limb above it. So I'll be back with you in a moment. Hey y'all, check this out. It's a good thing I'm doing this. Keeping it real. Look at this. That's the wire for my doublet. A limb has come down, caught the wire. My goodness, and my doublet's been working. Well, there's the end of it right there. You can see the insulator. But obviously it's not been working at maximum efficiency. Okay, so let's see if I can do this and hold the camera at the same time. Wow. Now it's back up there. Gracious. See it? So I'm glad I came over here. Now that's going to skew my results. I may have to go check the middle again, but I want to show you this. Now, if you're asking why didn't it break, because of that rock. It's over the fork of the limb on this tree. Okay, see the slack? I don't know, that feels pretty good really. So this rock gave it the relief, and it was up in the air, I can tell you that right now. So when I freed the wire from that limb, the rock came down. In fact, you saw it actually went over here. I normally keep it pulled down right here. This is my neighbor John's property. He's kind enough to let me use his property to support my antenna. Cool guy, really, John. He and I talk about once or twice, well, about once a week, check on each other. It's great to have good neighbors. So, yeah, so this is something I wasn't expecting, y'all. I guess maybe I should title this video, examine your antennas once in a while. Do a reconnaissance mission and check on your antennas. Okay, so headed back over to my place. Dude, that's a 160 meter dipole, 250 feet of wire. It wouldn't fit on my property. So without my neighbor John's kindness, I wouldn't have that antenna. Well, now looking up there, yeah, that's a little more, it looks better. But let's see what it did to the other side now. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, back where we started here on the opposite side. See, there's my deck. The center point of that doublet's up there. And look at this. Lots of slack. Okay, but even with the slack, the insulator is right where it should be. Zoom in there, you can see. See, there it is. Center your screen. I'll pull the rope. See if I can hold that and pull the rope. See it right there. Yeah, I don't think I can really do much better than that. Let me check the clearance here with those limbs. Oh, it's still laying a little bit on that one. It is laying on that bottom limb, just above the power lines. All right, let me think about this. I'll be back. You know, I think I will call this video Antenna Reconnaissance. Okay, going back down into my neighbor John's land. So here's my idea. Gonna do what I was thinking of doing now that I see that it should work. I'm gonna put more tension from this side, which is gonna pull the Ladder-Loc this direction. It should pull that wire over on the other side off of that limb, because I want it in between the two limbs. I don't want it scraping as the wind blows. So I'm gonna get over here and basically put another turn, or maybe two, around this rock. And actually, the way I did this rock, look at this, I did this one more correct. See, so all I really have to do is tie the smaller rope. I'll just pull this down and take up that slack and then tie it off to the smaller rope a little shorter. So bear with me. Okay, the retying is complete. It's just about tight enough. I can feel, if I pull, I can feel the pulley giving me a little bit of play there, so that's good. You know, the pulley over there in the center. Now, I had a lot of excess thick rope left, so I just coiled it around here and then tied it off. I need to tighten it up a little bit there, just to keep it off the ground. Okay, so now I'll go recheck the center point. Now walking back, I want to show you something. See that limb that was holding onto my antenna? Part of that tree, it was actually the top. It wasn't really a limb, it was the top of this tree that fell. We get storms through here sometimes, and these trees that are old and weak, they fall. Well, as expected. See, the Ladder-Loc is pulled to the right, the pulley's up to the left. That's not ideal, but it's what I have to work with. You know, with antennas, you do what you can. Now, it's prudent of me to go ahead and check the other side one more time, just to see if that wire ended up between those two limbs. Be back in a minute. See the Joro? It's the same guy I've been featuring in my shorts. As I walked by, I hit his web. I was interested to see if he might think he snagged some food, but he's not moving. And there's the feed point of the ZS6BKW as I make my way over to the other side of the doublet. Okay, back over here to the other side. Like I said, I'm playing this out in real time for y'all. Oh, yeah, you know, by the way, about that spider. My wife was reading, you know, they're from Asia, and they just came to the United States in the past few years. And they're in a family of spiders called the orb, O-R-B spiders. My wife was reading yesterday that since the Joro spider has come here, the other versions of the orb spider are nowhere to be found. Like either they left or they've been killed. Yeah, little side note there. I know this is not the Animal Planet channel. So here's the deal. Everything looks the same here. The insulator is still in about the same spot. Let me see if I can get on it. There you go, middle of the screen. And the rope is still, the wire is still slightly laying on that limb. Let me see if you can see it. Let me zoom in and let you see it wiggle. See there, you can see a leaf on it. And it's just barely touching that. So I'm gonna actually try to put just a little more tension here to pull it up off of that limb. It's gonna mean a minute change, see there, in the rope. But still not, see, I got the insulator is up there actually touching. See if I can get it back on there. I'll show you after I finish. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna have to find a different solution. I just can't pull the wire tight enough to get it off that limb. So, went in the house and grabbed this. It's called an easy hang or something like that, I think. I had bought my Kent paddle, my CW paddle, from DX Engineering, and the first order I got, they gave me a $20 off coupon. And these things are $100, or they were back then. So I ordered one. Now, I will tell you, most of my antenna hanging has been done with a homemade version of this, just using one of the regular slingshots, similar to this, but not as wide apart, that you get from Walmart, and then I just duct taped a cheap fishing reel to it. But this thing is really great. I've used it once. You may have seen the video last year or year before when I had to rehang my ZS6 BKW. So I'm gonna get this thing out and give it a whirl. I'm gonna try to, I noticed a limb, let me show you. Not a limb, but a joint, a fork, right above the one that I'm currently using. It's about in the center of the screen. I'm gonna see if I can get over that one. Maybe that'll be enough. I just don't really have any other options. So we'll see how that works out. Now let me show you what this looks like. It folds up. I have it folded out now. So I have the piece over my arm, and you'll see there it is, a bright yellow lead weight, I guess, or whatever that's made out of, that will be slingshotted over the fork of the limb. I even give you this winder here with this rope, but I'm just going to pull that rope over the limb. Why not? I'll just unravel it from the rock. Okay, let me see if I can get this done. Okay, so the fishing line is over the fork in the limb. I tied a loop knot here, and I took the weight off because I don't want to deal with it trying to drag over a limb. I just tied the fishing line on here just with 3 traditional knots. So let me pull it over. I'm going to have to put the camera down. Okay, so the fishing line has brought the rope down. I'm home free now. Just disconnect the fishing line and I can use the rope now to pull the rest of the slack out. Back in a moment. Well, project complete. It was pretty much an all-day project. Here you can see the insulator. Well, let me just tell you, that's a completely different limb different fork than I anticipated. I was down closer to where the top of the screen is before. Now I'm up there middle of the screen. I had to cut a limb out of the way. There's my ladder, and I had to use this to reach it, and it was extended all the way. So those come in handy, by the way, for antenna work. And then, boy, I tell you, when I tell you guys that I thread my antennas through the trees, man, I have been slingshotting all day, threading through limbs, cut the one limb. And even on this side, you may recall that on this side, I couldn't get too tight because it was scraping that limb that's in the middle of your screen. Well, I ended up slingshotting and pulling over that limb. So now the wire is over that. I don't know if you can see it. Let me move to a different angle. Okay, if you look in the middle of the screen, oh man, you can just barely see that black wire going across right where you can see the sky. So it was below that limb, now it's up there. So I got a little more altitude, elevation. I don't know that it's going to make that big of a difference in the signal, to be honest. But there's the tree that's supporting it now. And I'll show you how the rock ended up. Okay, before the rock was over here, but because of where I'm going across now, let's see if I can show you. Let's see. I don't know if you can see right there in the middle. Maybe you can see the rope going across. So it comes down. So it's going to end up on this side. And I tried a Ladder-Loc, but actually the Ladder-Loc wouldn't do this. So if the wind pulls the tree, this is heavy enough that it goes back down. And if I had the luxury of putting a pulley up there, that'd be even better. But like I said, this Dacron rope, and that's the bigger size, it's really just about indestructible. So there you go, antenna project for the day, antenna reconnaissance. I can't stress enough that it's a good idea to get out and look at your antennas every now and then. And I wasn't expecting to find the other side down by that small tree that fell on it. So I should get better performance out of my doublet. Now, believe it or not, I haven't noticed this from a performance standpoint because the antenna matching unit, the auto tuner as they call it, inside my amplifier, just matches it. So I didn't really know that it was down. So I should have some performance gain there. And ultimately, this side of the antenna is going to be a little higher than it was. So hey, thanks for watching the video all the way through if you did. Just want to keep it real with you guys and show you, well, I guess every angle of ham radio, and here's one working on antennas, which is, I find it fun. I find it therapeutic. Hey, hang around at the end of the video, and I'm going to recognize 5 long hauler Patreon team members. These are the people that make these videos possible. Without them supporting the channel for a year or 2 or more, I just wouldn't be able to continue doing this. It's too much of a time-consuming thing. Of course, all I'm doing is filming right now. Now I got to go edit and get this out to you. You know, and it costs to do the editing, costs to store it on the cloud. So I want to thank the Patreon team members who have helped me with this. And so please do stay to the end and watch that. It's short, it's like 32 seconds. Hey, and if you would subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, share with a friend. Thanks for watching videos on my channel. 73 from N4 H&H. Hey y'all, it's the next morning. I just wanted you to see where the Ladder-Loc is positioned now. It's just a little bit down to the right of the pulley, but I'll take that. I'll know if it changes drastically that there's something going on with the wire, of course, on one end or the other. Just like yesterday, I saw the small tree had fallen and taken the wire down to the ground. I will say, even compared to the past, when that wire was not on the ground, I did notice some improvements last night with the doublet, and that's probably attributed to raising it up a little bit higher on that other side. So all that work, sawing limbs and slingshotting over limbs, paid off, I think, because I've got a friend in Northwest Tennessee, and usually the ZS6 BKW wins in that direction, northwest of me. And last night the doublet was winning. Now it could have been band conditions, so as time goes on I'll continue to test that, but maybe that little bit of extra elevation did help. It is clearing my roof line of my house now very well, and it wasn't before, so that's also something that I'm happy about. But there it is, the Ladder-Loc sitting there where it should. And I want to mention to you, if you want to find out more about the whole deal of when I moved this thing, or had it moved by the tree people, click the link in the description. I give a little background in the description anyway, but if you click the link you can actually watch the video showing the guys moving this. What was wrong was the limb that I did have it secured in was more over this way, which is why I was able to pull the antenna tight over on that side where I was struggling with yesterday. But the problem is the limb had grown into the chimney, over to the chimney, and that was pulling all the wire across the roof and those rain gutters, and you don't want ladder line touching metal objects. Anyway, so that necessitated the move, because I cut that limb off that was going to my chimney, but it moved it more toward the road, and well, I just didn't have enough room over there to take up the slack, so that's why I did the complete overhaul and went to a different position in the tree that gave me more elevation and the ability to pull it tight. So anyway, I just wanted to insert this into the video here. So please, again, stay tuned. I'm going to recognize 5 of the Patreon team members that I call long haulers, who have helped support the channel for a year or 2 or more, because seriously, without them you wouldn't be watching my channel, because it wouldn't exist. So 73 from N4 H&H.